Okay, now that we have our video, I did wanted to reflect on the fact that uh, this was actually a lot simpler. There's before when I did this, there's a function called like on video playback, and there's a lot of logic to be able to play and pause and check the status of video. Is it loaded? Which is super helpful. But the way we just did it was a lot simpler. It was just like, okay, if it's viewable, if the index equals the active index equals the index of the item being shown, then play it. Otherwise, pause it. And it actually works pretty smoothly. And the fact that our video that didn't show as a preview in Supabase, which was actually pretty large, actually plays no problem. This one's 9.7 megabytes that we downloaded from our device, and then the one we uploaded was 1.4, so it's a big difference. Not something that will scale well because we would want to put a CDN in front of this and not pull directly from Supabase every single time, because that's how your costs are going to get up pretty high, and that's why we have exceeding usage limits by quite a bit here. But to get it working, it does work at least, so you can always come back to that. The next thing we want to do is add an overlay on this video so that when we come to it, it isn't just a video, but we could have some action. So we want to create a new view. So unlike the camera item, there's a camera view. There's no video view. So we want to create a absolute overlay. So what we're going to do is create a new view, put the video in that view. And right now it's not going to show it because we want to put absolute, and we want this object to be absolute. We don't want it to be black. And then with everything inside this absolute view, we're going to make it flexbox. So I think this should show, it's just not showing white. Yeah, let's try MT 20 or 18. Oh, there we go. It's at the bottom. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner. Okay, so it's at least showing now. And then within this, we want to do another view. Okay, flex 1. And flex row, item centered, and there's in between. So we don't want it centered, we want it at the end, and we want it justified at the end. But we don't want it to be covered by the bottom bar. So since this video object is actually the full height of the device and not taking into account the bottom bar, we need to add some space at the bottom. So we have nerd, and we want to add some icons. So let's add the regular. So we also want to do video.title. I don't want that to be a row, so I'm going to put this in the view. So it stacks on top of each other. We want this a little bit smaller. We don't need it. NT18. We do semi-bold. And we could do the whole thing, M.3, some spacing. There we go. Okay, so on the other side of this, we want to do the icons. Let's do import icons. I'm going to do touchable opacity because they're going to be buttons. Color white. Let's see if this shows up or where it shows up. Okay, perfect. So items end, justify start. We're going to do justify between. There we go. But we want to add a few more items. So let's do heart. Just copy and paste this. So we have the profile picture, but we don't have a profile picture just yet. So let's just put a person, heart, chat, chat ellipses, chat bubble, dash ellipses. There we go. Nice. And then we want to get some spacing. Nope. Okay, there we go. 40. And then maybe we don't need full margin around, so we can just do M6. Actually, we don't even need this one because there's nothing above it, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, here we go. Heart. What is this one? I don't know if we need this one. Oh, share. Okay, we want to use font awesome instead. Nice, much better. Okay. Although it's, I feel like it's a little different sizing. Okay, I'm not gonna get too nitpicky here. Okay, so now we have our icons. Here, let's post another video because we can't really see, but it follows the icons follow the actual item itself. So you're going to take action on this actual video. So if we click on one of these, it's going to be the user of this video, the like of this video, the chat of this video, the share of this video. And we could see that by, if we just do on press, we could do console.log. Let's do user username. Nerd. Okay, we can see the item here. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we need to put some actions to these. So we need a profile page. We need a, this doesn't have a like page, but we need a chat page, and then we need a share functionality. Let's start with the share one actually, because that one's pretty simple. Const share video, share. There's a native functionality with React Native. And then we do check out this video, video.title. Replace this log. There we go. Check out this video, test title here. Okay, so now we can share it. Next thing we want to do is add chat. So we're going to add another page. New file. It's not going to be chat, actually. It's going to be comments because we want to save the chat name for something else. So this is actually a comment. Comment. And let's just remove everything for now. Yeah. When we add a comment, we're going to need to use the user. So, and then let's add the page to here. So stack string, comment, presentation modal. Probably going to need to reload. But let's see if it works. No, of course not. Oh, obviously we're not routing to it. This button isn't doing anything. Duh. Okay, so we need to import router. Yep. Router. And then press to router.push/comments. Let's try this again. There we go. Jeez Louise. Okay. Let's just turn this into a log console.log. Like, okay, so we got share, comments, and then person. So we're going to create one more mock page for profile. Oh, man. This is fun stuff. New file. We don't want to call it profile because profile is already being used in the tabs and it's just confusing for naming. So we're just going to do user. And so this is a good way to know, you're going to need a component. We're basically going to create two routes. It's going to be the same page looks wise, but it's going to be different functionality. One's going to be from this tab bar. It's going to be our own profile. And then this person is going to go to their profile. And it's going to have a little bit of different functionality, but essentially it's going to be the same. And so we would pass like ID into this route. So the way we're going to do that actually is, don't want our user, so user is referencing ourselves here. So we're going to do const path name equals use path, and then we're going to import it from Expo router, and we're just going to log path name. Comment this out because it's going to give us an error. Let's just do username here in text. And then once we go to, we have to register that route first. This one, we don't want to be a modal, so we're going to remove that part. And then we're going to put on press on the right item this time, user, and then we're going to pass in the ID. So use the different ticks. So not username, but user ID, and then video. So we want the ID of the video, or the user ID from the video, and not our own username. So video.user.id. And then once we click on it, we could see /user. So it didn't pull in the path quite yet. So let's go back to user. Oh, path name params. Okay. So we got to actually use local search params instead. I'm thinking of something else. Params. Let's try this again. And then click on this. Okay, there we go. So user ID is defined, undefined. I mean, that's not what we wanted, but let's go back here. So video. Actually, let's just log what this is first. Video.user.id. Do we not have user. Object. So one thing you don't want to do in this is pass in a full object. So we just want the string value of the ID. Of course, it's not working at the moment. So let's just log video.user. So we're not joining. Okay. So on the query, we need to add that join item. So we have to add ID here. We could just add star as well, and then come back and clean it up. You don't, since the table is so small, it doesn't really matter that much. Or else you're gonna keep running into errors like this. But it's a good thing to come back and clean up. So okay, so now we have user ID. And then here, you could get, from that ID, you could search Supabase from the user details. And then display that user detail here. So we're going to do that in another video. But for right now, we have profile click, we have like, which doesn't do anything yet. We have comment, which just shows the video, or shows the modal, and we have share. Nice. Okay. So there we go. We have our video overlay with a lot of the data. Actually, let's add one more thing first. We want to add for you. So on TikTok, there's a top part here that just shows for you. And then I think a search bar. So that's how you get to search. So let's create a header. And we can also use this header in other pages as well. So we could see, like, if we go to comment, or not comment one, actually, when we go to profile, we want to create our own custom headers here as well to go back. So we're going to use that in a couple places. So that's why we're going to import header. And then we want to make this, don't want it the whole thing. So flex dash row, item center, justify between. That's what we want. So in between, we're gonna have 3 different items. We're gonna have an icon on each side and then a text in the middle. So we want to be able to pass text, string, title, bold, okay. Text, white, because it's gonna be overlay. Actually, let's do pass in color as well, because this button is going to be used, or this header is going to be used on white pages, and then also this page as well, which we want it in a white color, and we want it black on white pages. Sorry. And then we want to do some icons. And let's try this out. So we have color, title, buttons. This one goes back. This one doesn't do anything yet. Nope. This might just be search sometime. And let's add it to our page. So we have flat list. So this one, we're going to want to do it for you. So for this page, since things are absolute size, we want to make this item absolute because it's going to show up behind the object or above. So we're going to wrap this in another view to make sure it shows up. And we also don't want it to scroll with the item. So Z index 10, top 20. Let's see if it shows up. Oof, it does, but absolute top, left, right, Z index, color, white. Oh, PG white. It shows up at least. And then back. So we don't want this back button for here. So we're gonna make this optional. So let's do go back and then equals false. So by default, it'll be false. Solve 2 things here. We're gonna put both the icons in a view and define the width because of the weird spacing. I don't understand why they're both from the same icon library but different sizes. So usually icons can be different sizes or will be different sizes from different libraries. So like font also versus icons or material icons. But the fact that these are different sized from the same icons library is weird. Width at 10. Width dot 10. Nice. Okay. So this also allows us, if you were to remove this, the spacing, and only show this go back on certain pages, the spacing would be off. So it realigns. But now that we always have this view, or this view with a defined width, it'll be consistent no matter how big or small those icons are. Let's go back to index. So if we wanted to show here, we could actually make it optional. Wrong one. So it'll get rid of the TypeScript error. Okay, so, and then if we want to show go back, we can just put the icon there, and it'll show. All right, perfect. Let's add this header to the profile page as well, so we could actually navigate back and not be stuck here. User page, sorry, already messing up. I wanted this to be black. There we go. This spacing is messing up our header. Oof. Okay, let's make this a safe area view. So I think this is the first time using safe area view. So it just takes into consideration the notches on iPhones, which is nice because then not all Android phones have notches. So it won't add the same spacing. So it's dynamically adding and removing spacing. So there we go. And we want to go back. There we go. Okay, perfect. Finally. So now we got our header that shows for you, shows username, and we're going to use this header in a bunch of other places as well. But at least we have it and we can use it everywhere.